Hello, my name's David Murray. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm going to start with a quiz question, and I think it's a pretty difficult one, so top marks if you get this one. I'm going to show you the names of 12 companies. What is the special thing they all have in common? I'll show you them in groups of 4, and you can pause the recording if you need more time. What do these 12 companies have in common? Well, the first 2 pages were all luxury brands, although I did throw in Unilever to try and confuse you. But that 3rd page, what about Stoker Stock Fencing, Chris Sopp Scaffolding Limited and Weetabix, not quite so upmarket. But it was the last firm that was the big clue, Corgi Hosiery Limited. Who do you know that's mad about corgis? Yes, it was the Queen. All 12 of those companies have the honour of supplying their goods to the Queen by royal appointment. So if you got that, do let me know. I need to be on your quiz team the next time Malcolm turns up at church quiz night. But I love the idea of corgi hosiery. It conjures up brilliant images of corgis trotting around in fancy socks. Or better still, a pair of tights. In fact, make that 2 pairs of tights, which is superb work. Sadly, that's not how it is. Corgi Hosiery is just a small company in Wales that makes socks. Nevertheless, they have been chosen by royal appointment, and they do get to use this crest. Only royal appointees can do that. What an honour even for the big brands. But imagine what it must mean to Corgi Hosiery, or to Chris Sopp of Chris Sopp Scaffolding Limited. How proud they must feel to be recognised in that way. But what has that got to do with us? Well, there is a genuine link, and I wonder if you can see it. The answer is in verse 16 of today's reading. Here Jesus is speaking to his disciples, and through the Bible he also says this to us today. Jesus says to you and to me, I chose you, and I appointed you. And that is my key message. Like those companies, you have been chosen by royal appointment. How exciting and precious it must be to receive a royal warrant from the Queen. How much more when we receive it from the King of Kings. And yet, we have. John 15, verse 16. I have chosen you and appointed you. I hope you are enormously encouraged by that. But appointments are 2-way things. When you are appointed to any role, it confers duties as well as rewards. A company can only receive the royal warrant if it provides goods or services to the royal household. And the same applies to us. Jesus' appointment bestows on us a responsibility to serve him and to do our very best for him. Companies don't receive the royal warrant by sending their leftovers to Buckingham Palace. And so the second half of verse 16 explains what we must do in our context. Jesus says, I chose you and appointed you so that you may go and bear fruit, fruit that will last. Your duty and my duty is to go and bear fruit. And that theme runs throughout the whole of today's reading. First, it says that to bear fruit we must live lives which are obedient to Jesus' commands and example. That's verse 3. You cannot bear fruit unless you remain in me. Second, we need to remain connected to each other and the church. And that's difficult at the moment when we cannot meet together in the normal way. So please do not let yourself drift away. If you feel any sense of becoming disconnected, please talk to a friend or contact one of the staff team. Our church needs you, and our church is here for you. But what fruit should you bear? I can't answer that directly because we are all unique and Jesus' appointment is unique to you. Only you can fulfill your dental appointment, and similarly Jesus has chosen and appointed you to do things that are specific to your life and to the people in your life. But whatever the fruits may be, we know that we will produce them when we act in love. Either side of today's key verse, Jesus says, "My command is this, love each other." Which brings me to my final question, and it's another tough one. How much fruit have you borne in the last year? Why not set aside 15 minutes to consider that question? You might like to break your life up into 5 or 6 key areas: your faith journey, your family, work, friendships, your talents, use of your time and your possessions. And ask that question in each area. How much fruit have I borne in the last year? When I asked it of myself, there were 2 or 3 areas where I could see some fruits, and that has encouraged me to try and produce another crop soon. There are also 2 or 3 areas where the branches were bare, and that's something I need to reflect on. Indeed, today's passage contains some pretty strong warnings against leading fruitless lives, and we must heed those warnings. The privilege of a royal appointment also confers responsibility. But let's also remember how often the New Testament talks of that wonderful thing called God's grace. If our hearts and motives are right, God does bear with our mistakes. Let me close now. I hope you are encouraged and humbled that you have the wonderful privilege of being chosen and appointed by Jesus. It is something to be treasured in the same way as those companies treasure their royal warrant. I believe it should have a transformational effect on our lives. And as we bear fruit, God intends that we in turn should transform other people's lives. So please take some time this week to think carefully about how well you are doing that, and how you can be even more fruitful in the months ahead.